Hi,
I'm
Rich.
I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm the president of the Veterans for Peace chapter here. And so I guess we were just in a meeting preparing for what I call it the atomic season, when you have because the Trinity test was in New Mexico. So there's events going on down there. Archbishop of Santa Fe is going to have a service down there and downwinders. So we kind of mostly help with publicizing that. Some people are going to go. Um, it's going to be really hot down there, though. And then, we're talking about what to do on the Hiroshima Day and Nagasaki Day. Um, and I work for the VFP National Office in Membership, and it's really cool because I think because of Trump, there's a lot of people just signing up to join Veterans for Peace. I think they're really concerned. They want to be part of some kind of group where they can feel like there's something being done about it.
Hmm.
So
Excellent.
that's about it for me.
How many, what's our membership now? What's the
Ooh,
number?
darn it. I forgot that we were just had a meeting last Monday and I forgot what the numbers are.
We don't have to be specific. Use Trump numbers
It's the
between
biggest
0
ever.
and 100,000.
It's the biggest organization you ever existed in the
And the
world.
most wonderful. It's a gigantic, beautiful. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful organization.
they're
Yeah.
very, very good people.
Very, yeah, very good people. Peter,
On
do you
both
want to,
sides.
yeah, Peter, do you want to
Yeah.
introduce yourself?
I'm Peter Maris. I'm in southern Vermont, working on a book called Extinction at the Dawn of the Attention Age. I just put a proof of it up online. Got some people reading it. Um, let's see. Well, I've been working with the so-called DU working group. We don't like the name depleted uranium because it ain't depleted. So we call
Mm.
it uranium weapons. And we're learning that the Iranians think that there's DU in the bomb craters that were just made by our president.
Mm.
And that stuff is extremely bad. It's got a half-life of 400,000, no, 400, what is it, 4 billion years, 4.5 billion years. It's going to be hot.
Uh,
And it causes all kinds of birth defects and things. So we think that it's being used in Gaza. We can't prove it yet, but we have people in the group who can prove it if they get a sample.
uh,
And if that's the case, then whoever lives in Gaza next is going to be in for a very, very bad time for generations.
mhm.
Let's
Because,
hope
Yeah.
let's hope Trump gets it.
well, uh, they put more DU in. Let's see, what was it? There was some fantastic numbers. There were like 4 bunker busters dropped by the U.S. in the last war.
Mm.
Uh, just to take out Nasrallah, I think they used 86. These are bombs that weigh 2 tons,
Mhm.
and they go through a building and they go 60 or 70 meters underground and then just make a big hole.
The
Mhm.
ones they dropped the other day were 15 tons. They weighed 15 tons.
Wow. That's all
Dirty.
the United States knows how to do anymore is drop bombs.
How do they even carry 15 tons in the air? Like those planes can.
Yeah, there's one bomber that can do it, the B-2.
Wow.
Yeah,
Are,
it's nuts.
are you done, Peter?
I guess I'm done. I forgot what we were doing.
All right. Well, Alice, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Alice Slater in New York, belly of the beast. Um, I've been, sort of going along with things, but I haven't been well. That's what I'm not really doing anything, but everything's going on in New York. They're fasting for Gaza in front of the UN, the Veterans of Peace. I mean, everybody is up in arms. And we just had an incredible mayoral election. I don't know if you read about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like we just totally changed everything upside down. He's a an immigrant, Arab, Muslim. They came from Uganda, and his father teaches at Columbia, and his mother's a movie director, and he's like in his 30s, and he's so fabulous. His name is
Go Zoran.
Zoran Mamandi, and we had runoff voting. So the second guy was a very wonderful New York City comptroller, Brad Lander, and they endorsed each other. And Lander is Jewish, and they talk about, Jews and Arabs Muslims working together, and peace. I mean, it's so fabulous. And they had like 40,000 kids going door to door. It's like something is bursting open now to take back and they defeated Cuomo, who's like,
oh God,
That's excellent.
yeah.
so
So
that's the great news in New York.
just so you know, Alice, it's all over the U.S. People are talking about that everywhere. I mean, on the
It's a
local radio
phenomenon.
in New Mexico.
It's really the follow-up to what we saw with all the marching, with 5 million people that were marching last. It's happening. The grassroots are waking up and starting to fight back.
Yeah.
Did
With
I
the
miss
next-
something? Is Gerry not here? Gerry
Gerry
Condon?
is-
He's ill.
Oh, he's ill. I'm sorry.
Gerry is sick. So
Yeah.
so we're just going around and introducing ourselves and giving a little update. And so Rachel had her hand up, so she's anxious. So Rachel, introduce yourself and update.
Yeah, I was applauding what Alice said. So congratulations to all the New Yorkers for great
Yeah.
of a mayoral candidate. In my case, my name is Rachel Clark. I have been member of Chapter 34 in New York City, although I moved to upstate New York. I'm almost in Canada, almost that much north. And also, I'm a member of Manhattan Project for a Nuclear-Free World, where I met Alice, and she's been my greatest mentor since then, and I learned so much about nuclear from her. And recently, from what Nidia posted in the email, I just understood, clarified my long time question. The DU is categorized as a conventional weapon, although its ramification is the same as other nuclear weapons, weapon of mass destruction. And I think we need to raise awareness of this fact that we should ban any kind of uranium weapons, period. Because, as Peter said, 4.5 billion years of half-life, come on, we are destroying our environment totally. So, talking about environment, I am also organizing post-convention symposium on 27th of July, right after our national convention is over. I'm urging people to come to our venue, Pearson Civic Center, where we're gonna have specialists and victims and activists raising awareness of the ramification of nuclear weapons, nuclear energy, and Agent Orange, as well as PFAS. So these three, why I chose those three chemicals, because they all share the same features. It's just by a little bit of exposure, it causes intergenerational physical damage, as well as environmental damage. And manufacturers, our government, DOD, they don't want to take responsibilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. We'll go with Hollis. Hollis is in the fog. There he is.
Hi there, everybody. I was just trying to look up something else. There is a big peace deal that came out of the conference in Seattle, rebuilding the anti-nuclear war movement together. And there's a guy out of Oregon who's organizing a youth tour, and it's going to go to 3 places in Washington State. It's going to go to Spokane and go up to Welpinit, where the Midnight Mine was. Then they're going to go down to Hanford, and then they're going to go over to Ground Zero. And the cost of the thing is quite expensive, but he says he's going to get the kids to go no matter what. So that's a big deal. And that's going to happen the week before. They're going to end up at Ground Zero, I think, on the 9th, 6th or 9th of August. But otherwise, I wanted to report PFOS has been found in the Little Spokane River, and it is traced to a different source than I have ever heard. It is fertilizer. The farmers use a biosolid fertilizer, and apparently it is in high doses in the Little Spokane River, and so people aren't supposed to eat the fish for sure, and not go swimming. And then I'd just like to report a successful event we had with on the 14th, which was Flag Day. We had the Pride Festival here in Spokane, and people came out in droves, the biggest they have ever had. And we formed up a coalition with a group called Pride for Peace, and that's a new organization. And we're thinking about trying to help it go viral in the Vets for Peace system. So that's kind of some of the stuff that's going on down here in Spokane.
Wonderful.
What is PFOS?
Yeah, well, there's so many of those things. I can't remember the PFOS, PFASs. There's so many of them.
They're bad
But,
chemicals that they use.
Yeah, apparently Rachel pointed this out. They used it originally for making nuclear weapons slippery so they could, manufacture them easier so they didn't get stuck on stuff.
Mhm.
And then
So, yeah, the legacy of nuclear materials is horrific. And like
It's-
Rachel,
was saying,
do you know what PFOS is compared to PFAS?
Can I?
oh, there you go. Go ahead.
PFAS, is the collective noun of more than 15,000 chemicals, okay? And PFOA and PFOS are two of them, which are internationally banned, okay? But out of 15,000 or more, just the two banned? Come on. And it's almost like a whack-a-mole situation. Therefore, in Europe, many countries are trying to ban entire PFAS. As of now, in the United States, state of Minnesota has the most comprehensive PFAS ban law. Okay, and those new PFAS chemicals are coming out one after another. Basically, all PFAS is a compound of fluoride and chlorine. No, sorry. Fluoride and carbon, I'm sorry. Very, very, very tough material, and has four major features. All of them has these four major features. One, it is very, it repels water. Two, it repels oil. Three, it is extremely hard compound. It's hard to break down. Four, it's very, very heat resistant. So it was accidentally found, found by DuPont chemist in 1937, and it happens to be because of those four features, it expanded. Especially, it developed together, almost like twin sisters, together with nuclear weapons, because this material has been used inside of the building that enriched uranium, okay? Also, when you do the nuclear tests, you are actually making huge explosion and a fire, right? But you need to contain the fire as soon as possible. So, a fire extinguishing foam, FFF, is also major PFAS material. When it comes to U.S. military bases, they've been training how to do the extinguishing fire on a regular basis. Almost every week they've been doing it. all across the world, 800 bases, right? So wherever military bases are, soils are contaminated. Okay, that's a basic idea. Thank you.
And
I
isn't
just looked up PFAS, polyfluoroalkyl substances.
Thank you.
there you go. And wasn't it in Teflon? Wasn't it in our
Probably
fry
is
pan?
everything.
I think
I
it was in
think
our
so.
fry pans.
Yeah,
Yes,
because it repels
for
oil.
several years, and there's a city on the border between Pennsylvania and Ohio, or Virginia and Ohio, I forget. I was through there once, but it's where the Teflon was made. And several years ago, they discovered a lot of cancer clusters and things like that. And that's when they started looking into this.
Yep.
Um, my brother lives in Brunswick, Maine, and they recently had a major spill, actually several of them, from a former Naval Air Station a mile from his house. And Rachel knows about this. Pat Elder was up there or online for the town meetings that were going on. I was part of that. It's really, 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 really bad. You know, if you hear about microplastics or you hear about hormone disrupting chemicals, any of that stuff, it's all it's all of these things. And they are interfering with human fertility in insidious ways.
The level of toxicity, if I may add to what Peter said, let's try to imagine the Olympic size pool, huge pool, and you put just a pinch of salt. That level of thickness or thinness is already lethal. That's why people use PPT, parts per trillion, to measure the PFAS. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we knew that with nuclear. I mean, Helen Caldicott always used to say, like, one atom of hot, radioactive material, if it attacks the right place in a gene or someplace, it's cancer causing. I mean, so we're reaping the whirlwinds of all our horrible scientific
Yep.
stuff.
We've got three people, Joe,
Sorry.
Susan, and Derek, to introduce themselves. So let's see. We'll go ladies first. Sorry, Joe. Susan, introduce yourself. And
Okay, I'm Susan Lamont. I'm in Sonoma County, and highly inactive county in terms of anti-nuke work. Even though I try to push people, I get told nobody cares. Not that these people don't care, but they say that all work related to being anti-nuke is a waste of time because nobody cares. So I haven't been able to get much of anything going here. We are showing up at the VA clinic, in support of veterans and their rights and stuff, but not a whole lot else. If I come and go, a very close friend who was very active in anti-nuke work in the 80s and 90s just had a major stroke yesterday and is expected to die. And I'm sort of one of the contact points. So she was 94, so she had a really great life. But if I come and go, that's why. Some people, for a while, I get left alone, and then suddenly it's a flurry. So
yeah,
I'm sort of here in body. That's about it.
understand.
Okay, and I'll see everybody, I hope, at the convention, because there are so far 5 of us from Sonoma County going to the convention.
Excellent. All right, Joe.
Hi, yeah, Joe Wasserman. I work with Jim Brazil, who's the head of the Veterans for Peace here in Connecticut, and he asked me to be connected with this committee. I also work with Back from the Brink around the resolution before Congress to bring us back from the brink of nuclear war, the HRES 317. And we've been working with the Congress people in Connecticut to co-sponsor that.
Excellent, excellent. Tell Jim says hello.
Okay.
Derek, um, Derek, introduce yourself, where you're at and what you're
Thank you.
doing.
Thank you, everybody. Hi, I'm Derek Cassidy. We're in La Jolla, California, down in San Diego. And my wife Nancy and I are very active together in running the La Jolla Democratic Club. We're on the board of directors of the Peace Resource Center. We founded the Climate Mobilization Group of San Diego County. And let's see, what's our last thing? Peace Resource Center, Climate Mobilization, Democratic Party, and VFP. And so anyway, I'm an atomic veteran. My Navy ship was stationed out south of Honolulu, about 1,000 miles in '63, and the United States blew off a 80 megaton nuclear weapon, no, a 30 megaton nuclear weapon, 80 times bigger than Hiroshima, at 30,000 feet up in the air. It was a nuclear an atmospheric test. And shortly after that test, John Kennedy suspended atmospheric nuclear testing in his speech at American University called the Peace Speech, which is probably the greatest presidential speech that's ever been made. So I know something about nuclear. Also, my wife and I were arrested in at the Lawrence Livermore Laboratory in the '80s in the nuclear freeze movement, and we spent five days in custody. And when we came out, we all had to go in front of a judge. There were 1,700 of us, and we all had to appear in front of a judge. And the judge cleared our records and said, you don't have any, I'm not going to give you any punishment, and you get for time served, your 5 days of time that you served, you're scot-free. So that was really fun. Dunesburg, no, not, yeah, Dunesburg was in that meeting, that arrest with us. And no, not Dunesburg, the other guy.
Ellsberg.
Huh?
Ellsberg?
Yeah, Ellsberg, yeah. Ellsberg was with us, and he gave us a 2 hour talk. We all got on our cots in the military complex where we were being kept, and Ellsberg gave us this wonderful talk. I would have paid $500 just to hear that symposium. And
A lot of people here in Sonoma County were arrested at that same time, including the
right?
woman, yeah, who's dying right now. Yeah,
Yeah, they kept the women in one facility and they kept the men in another.
yeah.
And the guards came to us at around 5:30 and said, "Okay, dinner's going to be served in a half an hour." And we said, "Oh, sorry, guards, we're having a meeting. We're not we're not ready to have dinner. And if you insist on having dinner at 6 o'clock, we'll just fast for the evening." And they freaked out. Fast? No, you can't fast. Oh my God, no, no. Okay, what time would you like to have dinner? We said, if you don't mind, please put it on at 8. And the guard said, no problem. See you at 8 o'clock.
All right. All
That
right.
was really fun. Anyway, it's good to be here, and it's wonderful to see all of you. And I just regard you folks, all of us, as the best people in the country.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you, Derek. So Jerry had an agenda, and like if you didn't hear, Jerry's sick, and so he had a proposed agenda, which included U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, ceasefire, and impact on nuclear proliferation. So what I've heard about that is um, the chances are good that Iran is going to drop out of the NPT, and we're going to bomb because that's the only way they can get United States to stop dropping bombs on them. Who else has heard something else?
We don't know what's going on. The news is so up in the air. I think Iran has really behaved they hid the Ayatollah so we couldn't kill him. And he's been on the news, the Ayatollah. Did you hear? You know, so they're just trying to not make it into a big war. And I think maybe they can get to Trump. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
Israel is the nut job here. They never signed the NPT, and they have nuclear weapons. You know, what are we? Iran has a legal right because the NPT is the stupidest treaty. Like 5 countries had the bomb, and they promised to give them up: the U.S., Russia, England, China, and France. And all the rest of the world promised not to get them, except India, Pakistan, and Israel. They refused. And this treaty had this Faustian bargain that if you sign and promise not to get nuclear weapons, we'll give you an inalienable right to nuclear power. So we gave them the keys to the bomb pit, you know, like we gave them nuclear power, which is how you get a bomb. It's the only way to get a bomb is to make it in a nuclear reactor, make the material there. So Iran has a perfect right to enrich uranium. That's, you know, and they're being inspected and they didn't go over a certain level and they're just trying to, you know, threaten us to keep them off their back. And the Ayatollah has a fatwa against the bomb. He's like, you know, he's got this religious command that we cannot make a bomb in Iran so far. I mean, you know, that's the only good thing about him, basically.
Greg.
I've heard a lot of commentators, and these are smarter than mainstream media people, that what this war has done, what the United States did, is basically teach every nation you need to have a bomb to keep the U.S. off your back. It's the stupidest thing in the world, but it's teaching people the wrong lesson.
Rachel.
Yes, I would like to mention what Republic of Mongol chose. This particular nation is sandwiched by Russia and China, north bordering Russia and the south bordering China. And what they did is they declared as nuclear weapon-free zone, the country by itself. And also they said, we are neutral. We're not going to take any sides at all. And they're happy with it. If you attack a country like Mongol, definitely the perpetrator is such a bad guy internationally, lose its reputation. And I think Iran could follow that trace too. I want Japan to do that as soon as possible. But, you know, Japan is pretty much under control of the United States. But I still believe that Mongol's choice is the best. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, Susan.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have a son-in-law who was born in Israel and who is a Zionist. And we just, you know, we don't talk about it and we disagree about pretty much everything. And yet this past weekend we had a conversation and he said, I don't get it. Netanyahu's been wanting to attack Iran for decades, and that's the stupidest thing in the world. That's dangerous for everybody, and including Israelis. And the other thing he added is, he said, the Ayatollah has a fatwa. We screw that up, somebody's going to come in who wants to build nuclear weapons. It's just, he just couldn't believe that the United States and Israel were doing this. And this was a Zionist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got Trump helping Netanyahu. I mean,
well, yeah.
I call him Adolf Netanyahu. You know, I'm Jewish. I can't bear what's going on there.
Yeah.
It's they're having a Holocaust. They're doing a Holocaust. Like, you know, they make a big deal what happened to them, and then they turn around and do it.
Yeah.
Awful. It's just awful.
Excellent. So Jerry's next item was update on the NPR rewrite. Update on the NPR rewrite.
Jim, Derek had his hand up.
Oh, Derek.
Yeah, we didn't really finish Iran. Sort of.
Okay, go ahead, Derek.
I am really worried about Iran because they've had a national project to destroy Israel. And they support Hamas, they support Hezbollah, they support other groups that have as their goal the destruction of Israel. And I I just think these people need to understand, as long as they, Hamas goes across the fence and murders 1,300 Israelis, and then they think they can go back across the fence into Gaza and hide in their underground tunnels, and Israel won't do anything about it. That was poor planning on Hamas's part, because Israel doesn't suffer that kind of attack lightly. And we all know that. We've seen what Israel does. They are amazing in their need to defend themselves. And people, my friends, who are Gaza, who are Palestinian supporters, they talk about all the little children that have been killed.
Yeah, what about it?
Yeah, what about it? So I looked it up. 1.2 million children were killed in the Holocaust. Yeah,
And how
1.2
many were
million.
killed in Gaza? 90,000?
Yeah. Well, that's just the way it is. When we bombed Hiroshima, we killed a bunch of kids. When we bombed Nagasaki, we killed a bunch of kids.
Right.
When we firebombed Dresden, we killed a bunch of kids. When we did shock and awe on Iraq, we killed a bunch of kids. So come on, let's not
And
pretend.
all of those were wrong, along with this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
doesn't make it right.
It's always wrong. But my friends who are Palestinian supporters, you talking to them, you'd think nobody ever killed any kids but Israel.
I'm not a Palestinian supporter, but I think that Israel has done much more damage than the Palestinians have from the very beginning. And I mean, I had family that died in the Holocaust, and we were like so thrilled when Israel became a state. And what happened? Nobody would take a single Jew in after Hitler. England, France, and America said, give them a piece of Palestine. And there were 1.5 million Palestinians living there, and we didn't know that. And since they've been a state, they've been knocking them off and sending them out and killing them and putting them and isolating them. And Hamas, that terrible attack by Hamas, Trump, right before that, moved the capital of Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem and got them nuts, because that was supposed to be an international city and we're supposed to have a two-state solution, and it's been promised, and Israel has broken every promise, and we've helped them all the way through with Clinton and Obama and Biden and Trump, all of them. They're like our guard dog in the Middle East to look after the oil, and we've had one war after another with Iraq and with Syria, and we've been killing all their governments. I don't know.
Peter.
It's awful.
Oh, thanks. Two things. I put something in the chat that starts Sabrina Salvati. This was the other night. Scott Ritter and Garland Nixon really know what's going on, and they really know what they're talking about.
Mhm.
Max Blumenthal is another one to pay attention to. He just got back from Iran. The other thing is, I have found, it's still online at the Brookings Institution, a plan written in 2008
Right.
to take out all the countries that we've destroyed, ending with Iran. This was a plan that's now attributable to the Zionists, not the Jews, the Zionists.
Mhm.
The Zionist movement goes back more than 100 years, and it was not a Jewish movement. And the people that started it didn't give a damn about the Jewish problems, the problem of people being massacred all the time in Europe.
And they were prominent Jews.
But more than this, we have a genocide economy now. It employs millions of people in every congressional district. There are people who live a mile from me that sew rucksacks for some little company that has a government contract. I mean, the genocide economy now relies on an active genocide going on somewhere in the world. And when this one's done, there'll be another one. I'm betting it's going to be the Mexican border. It's an industry, and it's a mindset.
Mhm.
So anyway, I refer you to those sources, and you can't believe anything that's on the mass media. You can't believe anything that the government talks about. It's all designed to hoodwink us into more of the same. And people are getting filthy rich. Now, Genovese, no, who is it? The special rapporteur. I always forget her name, but she's wonderful. She was just on with Chris Hedges. She's about to release a report for the UN naming 50.
Albanese.
Yes, Albanese.
Albanese
Yeah.
or Albanese.
She's going to release this report that names at least 50 corporate entities that are heavily profiting. I mean, absolutely relying on the genocide industry.
Mhm.
And that spiders out into millions and millions of people. It's an economy. And she points out, as an international human rights lawyer for the UN, that this is just because everybody's breaking the law doesn't mean it ain't the law. And people will be brought to justice eventually. Now, it's wonderful to hear this lovely person pronounce these words, and well worth looking. Go look up Chris Hedges. He's just interviewed her. I'll shut up now.
Right.
This is a terribly painful thing for everyone, and it's the confusion and anger with each other is playing right into their hands.
Exactly. Well, Ellen Thomas joined us, and before we get to the NPR update, Ellen, do you want to introduce yourself and let us know where you're at and what you're doing?
Okay, yes, I'm Ellen Thomas. I'm co-founder of Proposition 1 campaign for a nuclear-free future back in 1990, which led to a voter initiative, which led to a bill that's been introduced by Eleanor Holmes Norton every session since 1994. That's 31 years. And I am co-chair of the Disarm End Wars Committee of Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, and I'm headed to Japan for Hiroshima and Nagasaki with my daughter and granddaughter, and I'm really excited about it.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Thanks, Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who has an update on the NPR?
Would you like the document? I can put it up on the screen if you like.
Sure. You want me to share screen?
Well, yeah. Let me see if I can find the sucker.
Okay. Hold on. Multiple persons. All right, Peter.
Give me ARFMO because my system is all of a sudden resisting me.
Well, while you're looking, does anybody have an update as far as the rewrite, Alice?
Well, I haven't been involved in the rewrite. I drafted the original one because Biden was going to come out with his nuclear posture. And then I sent some research to the group that it started with Clinton, where they would do each president did a nuclear posture review, starting with Clinton, to describe our nuclear posture, the state of the arsenal, and whatever the issues were. And we decided to do our own nuclear posture before Biden did. So now we're talking about updating it, but I don't even know if that's the right thing. You know, it's like Trump's not going to do a nuclear posture. You know what I mean? We're not addressing that. Like, the issues have changed so much.
Yeah.
That it's not, you know, we can't just talk about nuclear posture, because if we're going to talk about nuclear posture, we got to talk about the golden dome that he's talked, you know, the golden doom, because China and Russia keep begging us to negotiate treaties to ban weapons in space and cyber war, and we totally blow them off in the UN. We vetoed a treaty they tabled at the Commission on Disarmament where you needed consensus to discuss it. US said no. So, you know, the nuclear we have willing partners with Russia and China if we would behave ourselves. So it's more than just the nuclear posture. I don't know if that could be in it, but it should stress
Probably.
that now going forward. It's not just giving a report on where we are with nukes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel, do you have some information on the nuclear posture review?
Yeah, I just did my part of draft one. I'm supposed to write about the indigenous peoples part, and I sent it to Greg 3 days ago. Greg, did you have a chance to read it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It's
I'll look
okay.
for it.
Can I read it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could
Thank
be
you.
saving me save my homework from.
Yeah, it says, as survivors of genocide and colonization, indigenous societies in the United States have an inherent connection to the proliferation of nuclear weapons and nuclear energy. They recognize the flaws in the rhetoric of the nuclear industry and its advocacy organizations that promote atoms for peace. The production of uranium is intended to create materials for nuclear weapons, such as tritium and plutonium. Consequently, uranium development poses proliferation and security risks. This hinders victim assistance and creates more victims in the process. This conflicts with the inalienable rights of peoples recognized in UN instruments, which emphasize the inherent dignity and equal rights of all members of the human family. Hold on, I have more. These rights form the basis of freedom, justice, and peace worldwide. That's it. What do you think?
That sounds wonderful.
Thank you. It's based on Leona Morgan's speech made in March when she attended when she spoke at the UN.
Excellent. So
Thank you.
I'm sure Jerry's going to watch this and he'll have some input as far as next steps. I think Rachel had a really good section there. And Alice, you're asking some great questions. What do we do? Just what do we do? So the next thing Jerry had on the agenda was the atomic season updates and plans, July 16th, August 6th and 9th. And I'm just going to update on Nashville because I reached out for the second year and pointed out that this was the 80th to the Japanese consulate in Nashville, in Tennessee. And it's obvious they're drinking the Kool-Aid that is produced in Tennessee because the Japanese consulate, even though I offered Veteran Sugar Peace can join you and do something, they said, nah. Okay, who's next?
I want to comment on what you said, Jim, because the Japanese are the biggest hypocrites. They're part of our nuclear umbrella. They're relying on our nuclear bomb, and then now we're doing this AUKUS where we were organizing Japan and New England and Australia and New Zealand to attack China, and it's a nuclear alliance. So Japan, every year they talk about Hiroshima and Nagasaki and how terrible it is, but they don't really want to get rid of the bomb, Japan. It's very hypocritical.
Yeah, actually, Hiroshima is a peace washing Iwakuni. Iwakuni is right next to Hiroshima, and they have a big U.S. Marine Corps base.
Yeah, I've
Okay,
been there.
and Nagasaki is peace washing Sasebo. Sasebo is a U.S. Navy base place, together with the Japanese self-defense forces maritime. So it's really hiding what they have militarily, and it's really peace washing.
Mm,
I love peace washing. That's great.
excellent.
That's
Any-
an expression.
Does anybody know of any other actions that are happening that you're going to be participating in or do for July 16th, August 9th, 6th and 9th?
I think I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting that being in New Mexico, there's a lot of focus on the Trinity test, which
Yeah.
is somebody wrote a book called First They Bombed New Mexico. And I had no idea that this genetic damage goes on for generations. There's still babies being born now
Yeah.
that have genetic damage from that test in 1945?
Yep.
40, yeah. So there's observations and commemorations for that. And then, of course, demonstrations for the Hiroshima and Nagasaki days. To my knowledge, I don't think there's anything really nuclear at the VFP convention except for that talk about there's two indigenous people who are going to have a panel about the impact of the atomic weapons on indigenous people, mostly in the U.S. because we didn't get any Pacific Islanders. So that's kind of weird.
Oh, we have a Hibakusha invited to the convention.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
yeah,
86 years old Hibakusha is coming.
yeah.
And the indigenous people took like the brunt. The uranium mining was on the Navajo land, which now they're Dene. They don't. Navajo is the Spanish word for knife. They call themselves a Dene.
Yeah.
And the testing was in, it was, and the Nevada test site is on Western Shoshone Holy Land, where we're blowing up nukes all these years, so it's, I think the new treaty acknowledges that. They talk about taking care of the what was left over, like reparations and cleanup and all these things, So.
You mean which treaty is
Treaty
that?
for the prohibition of nuclear weapons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ellen,
Ellen's got her hand up, and since she's going, she might have some good news.
Good news. Well, I just wanted to tell you that I put some links in the chat. There's a July 16th Trinity Day 80th commemoration that we're doing on Zoom. WILF US and the Hiroshima Nagasaki Peace Committee of the National Capital Region. And I put the link to register for that. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time. If you would like to join us, Tina Cordova, Peter Kusinik, I forget who else. They're good folks that are going to be talking, and Tina will be talking briefly in between 2 or 3 other events that she's going to be physically at on that day, so it'll be good to hear from her. And so what good news did you want to hear from me?
Somebody doing something.
Oh, yeah.
So you're doing something.
We're doing something.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, and you put that link in the chat to
I
register for
did.
that.
So people who can't get out, you can join us. It'll be probably a couple of hours. And there'll be several speakers and then a chance for conversation. So
Excellent.
So, and Ellen, you have Ira Helfand on the program too?
I don't think so.
Oh,
No,
okay, that's another event.
that's another event. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, next up on the agenda.
Oh, Hideko Tamura, who is an atomic bomb survivor who lives in Oregon. She's going to be one of the speakers.
Wow. Okay. So it's something we really need to sign up for, give them a lot of views. So the VFP convention, July 25th through 27th. Is there anybody who is, let's do this. Let's raise a hand. Who is physically going to the convention? Rachel, Susan, and that's it.
Where is it located?
Las Vegas.
120 degrees every day.
Mm.
But the humidity's low.
Yes, yes.
So,
Rachel's on the committee. I think you might know some things, Rachel.
all right, tell us about the convention, Rachel.
Oh,
Or,
about
you
the
know,
convention. Okay, unlike previous conventions, this year's convention is a much smaller scale. There's a big, we used to have a multiple how do you say, sub events going on simultaneously. It's no longer like that this year. So one at a time at the center place, that's about it. And therefore, the program is a lot smaller. And the venue, the biggest venue can accommodate about ballpark of 100 people. Yeah, that's a major difference.
and it will be online.
Yes, yes. It's a hybrid, online and in person, both. Yes.
So who's going online?
Shh.
There we go.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Okay. The golden rule update cannot happen because Gerry nor Helen are here. September UN days. Any news about the September UN days?
Well, I know we always have Veterans of Peace in New York at all the nuclear meetings that are happening at the UN, and they're picketing. The U.S. mission is right across the street from the UN, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of activity around there from the New York Veterans of Peace that are here all the time doing that. You know.
Alice, did you stop by and see the folks that are fasting? Did you?
No, I'm like handicapped right now. I can't go anywhere. The fasting people are coming to visit me.
All right, excellent.
They're dropping in, yeah.
All right.
And I just want to say one other thing about Daniel Ellsberg. He fasted for a month outside the UN when they were renewing the MPT. He didn't eat for 30 days. And we all came down and fasted with him for a day. And then I broke the fast at my house. I made tofu soup for him to eat.
Excellent.
Anyway, he was such a great anti-nuclear activist.
Yeah.
He was the best.
Yep. Next on the agenda is monthly No Nukes actions. And I talked about at the last meeting, putting together a draft of a letter. I know we've all seen these letters that come up. Please sign the letter and it'll go off to your congressperson. And I drafted one and sent it out. Didn't get any feedback, but it's already outdated because it was intended to write your congressman to encourage Trump to complete the deal with Iran. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draft another one and I will send it out and hopefully everybody will take a look at it and send me some comments back and then I'll send it off to Shelley. So, but don't expect anything, let's see, the convention is coming up. Well, no, I'll try and get something out within the next 10 days or so. So take a look and help me out with a letter. Rachel.
Yes, sir. So during the convention, there are some film viewing occasions. And the one I proposed was created in Japan, broadcasted on television in 2001, August 13th. This is about nuclear weapons secretly stored in Japan during the Cold War time. And those who are those who are attending convention in person, yes, you can watch there. But if you are interested in organizing film viewing session via Zoom in your with your chapters, please feel free to contact me. I'm more than happy to run the film viewing session. And this particular film has a very strict copyright with the TV station in Japan. So the person who made this video film said that don't do it in public stage, but if you can very close to session among VFP, I'm more than happy to share it. So that was the backstory. All right. But
Thanks.
this will tell you unbelievable reality that how Japanese government ignored its own constitution and secretly stored and also practiced and even ready to deploy anytime nuclear weapons. There were several nuclear sortie stations, different parts of Japan, all the way from north to the south. Not only in Okinawa, even mainlands, they had several places. And there was a U.S. military school where they were teaching how to deal with nuclear weapons in Japan. So you got to watch this. Then you can guess what's going on right now if that was the reality during the Cold War time. Thank you.
So we can talk to you about seeing that film on, is it online?
No, I cannot put it online. That's why I have to run it through from here.
Will you put your contact information
Sure,
in the
sure.
chat?
Thank you for asking.
Okay. So, any other monthly actions that might be generating some interest for any of you folks out there that we can share with Gerry as he tries to put his malady behind him?
I have one issue that I'd like.
Go for it, Ellen. Ellen, where'd you go?
You're on mute, Ellen.
I would like to, I'm getting involved or starting a project to try to put voter initiatives on the ballot and locally in places where there are local initiatives, because statewide initiatives are very difficult and expensive to do. And I'm doing research on that. And if anybody knows anything about initiatives where you live, then please get in touch with me. I'll put my email in the chat, which is et@prop1.org, and be sure that you also check out prop1.org, because that's all about the Nuclear Weapons Abolition and Conversion Act. It's HR 1888 right now. But we got a voter initiative in DC on the ballot, and it won the election, which is why this bill is now in Congress and was introduced 31 years ago. It's a very effective means of communication. Even if you don't succeed with it, it's a way that legislators actually have to pay attention to the fact that people are asking for this, because it becomes very public that people are asking for this. And it's a way that you can communicate with people about an idea that is really important, because what this is saying is take the money away from nuclear weapons and use that money to transform the war economy to a clean energy and environmental restoration economy, with the taxpayers paying the cost of transforming the war industries into clean energy and peacetime industries, so that the people don't lose their jobs and the job gets done. And if people will just talk about it in that respect and somehow figure out a way to reach out to the arms industrialists and get them to understand that it's in their best interest to get to help with this. I can't do it all by myself. We've got Warheads to Windmills campaign going, the coalition, and that's good. But people aren't taking this bill seriously, and they really need to. And so I would like to see people put on the ballot in their own neighborhoods, wherever it's possible, request that the legislator sign on to the bill and ask the senators to introduce it into the Senate. And the way that we had to do it in Washington, D.C. was we had to have the mayor write a letter to the congresswoman saying that the people wanted her to introduce the bill. So if you think it's a good idea, then I would love to hear from you. And I put my email in the chat.
Thank you. Thanks, Ellen. That is a good idea. I'm going to contact you. Greg has his hand up.
Is that the Eleanor Holmes Norton
Yes.
bill?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
HR 1888. She hasn't
Okay.
done a dear colleague letter yet because she's waiting for endorsements from various organizations. So if you would like to endorse it as an organization, you'd send the letter to her Trent Holbrook is the name. I'll put his name and email in there.
Excellent.
Does anybody know if VFP has endorsed it in the past?
It's something to look into.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gerry would probably be the one who would know absolutely for sure. So, Gerry, when you're listening, let us know. So,
What's the name of the lady in Washington, D.C.? Norton, somebody?
Eleanor Holmes Norton, yeah.
Eleanor what?
Holmes, Holmes. Norton, that's her
Oh, yeah,
middle
thank you.
name.
Yes.
But Eleanor Norton, yes, that
thank
will
you.
do the trick.
very good, everybody. Take care.
Wait a minute.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Save the chat. I just added my phone number.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Ellen. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
See you at the convention or wherever.